Yo, what's going on, guys? This is the Mantis MMA, guys. I am back with another video, guys. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down UFC 325 taking place this Saturday in Sydney, Australia. Guys, I'm so excited for this card. UFC 324 literally just took place yesterday, and I'm already breaking down UFC 325. But please, first and foremost, like and subscribe, guys. It helps me out a ton. It keeps me motivated, and it helps my channel grow. I love to see you guys support me. But guys, I'm gonna be honest. Let me just say this off rip. I'm not breaking down these fights. I know who some of these fighters are, but I don't really care. Honestly, if you care for those breakdowns of this fight, go to the video. I'm not breaking that shit down. I'm gonna break down the real important fights that matter. We have Khan Ofli versus Yija. Guys, I want to say Khan Ofli is gonna win, but he's not. I don't think he gets knocked out. I think he gets dropped and then submitted by Yija, who has like 15 first-round finishes, 16 first-round finishes, like 6 or 7 submissions, something like that. Yija is pretty good. Khan Ofli is also not bad, but I think Yija is just a little bit better, and I think he's going to try to get a statement win off of Khan Ofli. But moving up the card to the prelims, we have Jonathan Mikhailov versus Oban Elliott, and Oban is an absolute monster. He's coming off a loss, kind of like a fraud check loss, honestly. But when Oban is on, he is on. Jonathan is not bad, but I think Oban is kind of going to use his fight to kind of get himself back in the win column. And I think the UFC knows that. I mean, Jonathan is not a bad dude sitting at 8-1, 6 feet. They have him listed at 6 feet, but I think he's really like 6'1", maybe even 6'2". But I think Oban is going to be the more technical striker, and he's going to find maybe like a right cross down the street that might hurt Jonathan. And I do think Oban picks up a win here, unless he gets fraud check, which he might. I mean, this is not really a layup for Oban, right? But like, I think he's gonna pull out a very, very difficult win. Maybe in the late third round he finds a finish. But moving up the card, we do have Jacob Malkoun versus Taurus McKinney, and this fight is hilarious, bro. Cause like, look at, I think he's 11-0 is crazy, bro. And he's a middleweight, bro. And Jacob Malkoun is also middleweight at 5'9". Like, both these guys are kind of fat and stocky. But I think Taurus McKinney gets it done just off of sheer willpower. Just sheer willpower. I don't think he finds like a finish or anything. But Jacob Malkoun isn't necessarily bad, but I don't think he'll be able to beat Taurus McKinney unless he finds like a submission late in the second round or something like that. I think Taurus McKinney is going to find a very, very comfortable win and slowly keep etching his name in, in the middleweight conversation. I'm not saying Taurus McKinney is ever going to be a top 10 ranked middleweight, a top 8 or 9 ranked middleweight. But I think these wins are slowly start to creep up and add to your resume. And before we know it, you might see Taurus McKinney with an 11 next to his name, fighting maybe the 8th ranked guy or something like that, maybe in the future. But I think Taurus McKinney picks up a win. Guys, moving up the card, we have Cam Rouser versus Cody Brundage. And Cody Brundage, I don't want to say he's the worst fighter on the roster, but he's the worst fighter on the... no, he's not. But, like, shit. I mean, Cam Rouser is going to absolutely destroy him. Cam Rouser is good. He's 6'3". He has a very good reach, and he has like a 6-inch reach advantage. He's keeping me outside. I mean, Cody Brundage is kind of hard to finish unless like you're kind of like Hamzat, or you just have like an incredible submission threat. But I think Cam Rouser is gonna go out there and find a very comfortable unanimous decision in front of his home crowd. And again, another middleweight that's gonna slowly but surely start to climb the ranks. Guys that we haven't really heard of that might have really incredible performances at UFC 325, and I think Cam Rouser is one of those guys. But guys, moving up the card, we have Julian Tafa versus Billy Elkana, excuse me. This fight is interesting because Julian Tafa can win a fight at any given moment, but he's also like not good. Like I don't like the Tafa brothers should be better than they are, right? Is that just me? I feel like they should be better than they are. But Billy Elkana is actually pretty solid, 9-2, coming off a very, very impressive win. And I don't want to bet against Julian Tafa in his home crowd, but I kind of have to. 6-4. This is probably the last fight on his contract. I think Billy Elkana is going to find maybe a finish, maybe early too. I think he's going to go out there and try to starch him, get him out of there early. And Julian Tafa coming off a loss might be a little dejected, might not be as motivated. And I can see where Billy Elkana picks up a finish against a guy, Julian Tafa, and the crowd starts booing and blah, 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 whatever, stuff like that. So I have Billy Elkana by first round finish. And guys, I'm honestly zooming through these prelims because I really want to get to this main card. This main card is really, really exciting for me. So I really want to break that down. So moving up, we do have Quillen Salakin versus Jamie Mullarkey. Why is this not? Look. See, look. They trying to do the kid dirty, bro. Like, can I? We have Quillen Salakin versus Jamie Mullarkey. I don't know why it doesn't want to open. Whatever. But I think the whole world, not just Australia, is kind of expecting Krillin to win, right? I mean, Jay Malarkey gets hit a lot, and he can be finished. Jay Malarkey is a good test for Krillin, and they're really trying to build up Krillin like very quickly. Because in the lightweight division, when you have a star, you have a star, and I think the UFC looks at the lightweight division as a place where they can get regional, national stars, global stars, and Krillin Salakil has that potential. And I think they're trying to build him up here, and I think he finds a finish against Jay Malarkey. I think it might take him around to download data, but I think once he finds that range, he might land another head kick. He might land a right straight down the line and drop Jay Malarkey and finish off something with the ground and pound, and then do his cigarette celebration. So I do have Krillin Salakil picking up another impressive victory here and really rising his name. And then who knows, depending on how ferocious and how vicious this knockout is, we can see him, fighting a very ranked fighter very, very soon. But moving up the card, we have Tai Tuivasa versus Talison Teixeira. I don't know why that other the Krillin fight didn't want to open up like that, but Bam Bam is back, baby. I don't care, I'm saying it. Bam Bam is back, bro. When Bam Bam is fighting, it's always exciting. This fight is not going to go past maybe 50 seconds. I think Tai Tuivasa, again, coming off a loss, I think sees this as an opportunity, seeing what Derek Lewis is able to do to Talison Teixeira, is going to come out there and try to starch him. Now, Talison Teixeira is a big dude, has a huge reach advantage, an 7-8 inch reach advantage. Standing at 6'7", a big motherfucker who's actually not fat and pretty athletic and has some striking pedigree, right? But Tai Tuivasa is fucking Tai Tuivasa. And when Tai Tuivasa decides to go forward against a long-range guy, he somehow finds the range. It's actually very impressive. I mean, unless you're Cyril Gane, you can stay on the outside. Tai Tuivasa, I think, maybe able to close the distance. And I think he might be even a little bit faster than Talison and clip him. Because Derek Lewis is able to do it. I think Tai sees that, and he's going to go out there and try to get back in the win column. I think this is the fight to do it against. I think Talison is going to try to approach this fight kind of like he did Derek Lewis. Learn from Derek Lewis' fight, but I do not think it's going to matter. I think Tai Tuivasa goes out there and picks up a very impressive win and gets himself back into the win column, which is much needed for Tai, because at one point he was fighting Cyril Gane before with the interim belt, or I think it was the interim belt when he fought him in Paris and got absolutely destroyed. But Tai Tuivasa is always exciting. He's fun on the mic, he's fun outside the arena, and when Tai Tuivasa is knocking people out, the world is a better and happier place. So I think Tai Tuivasa picks up maybe a mid-second round, late second round finish over Talison Teixeira, and then Talison Teixeira goes on a 2-fight losing streak, and then no one gives a fuck about him going forward. No hate, I'm just saying that's probably what's going to happen. Moving up the card, we have Rafael Fiziev versus Mauricio Rufy. This is an absolute war. This could headline a main event on a fight night. This might be a war. I want to say someone's going to sleep. I think Rufy has the power to one-shot him. I don't know if Fiziev has the power to one-shot Rufy. That is the problem. But man, this fight is exciting. On paper, this fight is exciting, but which is why it might be boring for like a round and a half, 2 rounds. I really hope it's not, but this fight is just a striker's delight. It's absolute violence. For my prediction, I've debated this one a little bit, and I'm a little biased towards Rufy because he's exciting, and I always love an exciting striker. I always want an exciting striker to win, even though Fiziev is also an exciting striker, but Rufy's obviously a little bit more flashy. This one's tricky. I think the leg kicks of Fiziev might give Rufy a few problems, and I don't think Rufy's going to grapple. I think he's going to stand and bang. Or I don't think Fiziev's going to grapple. I think he's going to stand and bang with Rufy. I really hope he doesn't grapple. I think he might. Once Rufy starts doing some weird shit and he realizes the power of Rufy, Fiziev might actually grapple, which could give Rufy some problems, considering what BSD did to Rufy. But at the end of the day, man, this fight is tricky for me to pick. I'm going to go with Rufy. I think he's going to do a lot of damage. He might even cut Fiziev, right? He might even drop him with a front kick or something weird, like an axe kick or something very strange. He might drop him and pick up a very close win here. It'll be close, so I think Fiziev is going to do a lot of leg kicks. I think he's going to mix in the grappling, which might catch Rufy a little bit off guard because he's not going to expect Fiziev to really grapple like that, even though Fiziev can grapple. I mean, he took down Justin Gaethje once or twice, I think, something like that. But I think Fiziev is going to come out here with a very good striker's approach, but mix in the grappling, which will give Rufy problems. But I think as the fight prolongs, Rufy will be able to adjust, and I think he's going to land the harder shots. I think he's going to land the more powerful shots, and I think he's going to do a little bit of damage to Fiziev, a lot of visible damage, right? So for that reason, I do have Rufy picking up a win here, and then sprinkling his name back into the lightweight, I don't want to say title picture, but as a contender. Obviously he just got pretty much destroyed by BSD, who I picked him to beat. But at the end of the day, I think Rufy is going to come out here to prove a point. And then Fiziev, I think he's going to fight. It might even be like a robbery type of situation where it's like, oh, well, Rufy did more damage, but Fiziev maybe had control time or a takedown or something like that, right? But at the end of the day, I think damage obviously trumps all, and I think Rufi will be able to do more damage. But moving up the card, we do have the co-main event, which I heard is off. I don't know if it's 100% off. I literally, like, 5 minutes ago on Twitter heard that it's off. I don't know if that's fake, but if it's off, that fucking sucks. But if this fight is on, we do have Dan Hooker versus Benoit Saint Denis in the co-main event, which is a kind of a weird co-main event. I mean, I don't know if it's Dan Hooker's retirement fight. It actually might be Dan Hooker's retirement fight, even though Dan Hooker, like, loves fighting. He's fucking crazy. Like, it seems like he'll never retire. But I mean, he's gonna get mauled here. Dan Hooker doesn't really get knocked out, but I think he will get hurt. I don't really see a world where Dan Hooker wins this fight. I mean, I think Benoit Saint Denis kind of got his mojo back a little bit. I think he's kind of rolling a little bit. He's kind of got that second burst. Like, okay, you know what? I'm back. I can be in championship form to maybe compete for the belt. I don't know if Dan Hooker really has anything for BSD. I mean, maybe he poses a threat off of his back to some degree, but pulling guard and being a threat off your back and being effective is really rare nowadays in modern MMA. It's really hard to do stuff with that, you know, pull off triangles and, you know, arm bars from bottom and stuff like that. And unless you're landing like elbows and stuff like that, it's really hard to win a fight off of your back in modern MMA. And I don't know if Dan Hooker is capable to win a fight against a guy like BSD with such overpowering top pressure like that. And then also too, Dan Hooker is a dog. He's hard to put out, but I don't know if Dan Hooker can really hurt BSD. He has the boxing and the striking to do it. He has good kicks to do it, but I think BSD is such a dog, and like I said, I think BSD has found his rhythm, and I just think that he goes out there, and I don't want to say he mauls Dan Hooker the way Armin mauled Dan Hooker, but I could see a very similar route to victory for Benoit Saint Denis. And I think he picks up a win, and then maybe he calls out a guy like a Paddy Pimblett or something like that, or a guy like Mauricio, or not Mauricio Rufy, or Rafael Fiziev, or someone like that, or maybe even like a Michael Chandler. You know, just a guy to get another big win off of to really build his way back up to that title picture. So I do have Benoit Saint Denis beating Dan Hooker, and like I said, I don't want Dan Hooker to retire. Maybe they made this a co-main event so Dan Hooker can retire. But the way Dan Hooker talks about fighting and his love for the sport, I don't think this is it for him if he loses, but we shall see. But anyways, we are moving to the main event of the evening, the rematch. Everyone wanted. No, I'm kidding. I mean, I kind of wanted it, if I'm being very, very honest. I literally said this in my stream. Like, I'm not too mad at the UFC for giving diegolopes a second shot. I'm really not. Was it really deserved? Not really. But I said this too a couple streams ago and a couple videos ago. Like, I feel like the Paramount Plus era is going to be all about exciting fights. And I think the UFC is not really going to give a fuck about the rankings. I think they're really just going to try to go out there and match make two fighters that are going to put on a violent, electric performance, and that is going to be the product that we're going to get every pay-per-view. So it's not really going to be about the rankings. It's going to be about what will sell and what's going to be exciting. And I think this matchup is very exciting. I mean, obviously we have guys like Mobzar that are very deserving. We have a guy like Lerone Murphy who's very deserving, right? But I think this matchup on paper for a rematch is going to be very, very interesting. And now for my prediction, boys and girls, I don't want to do it, and I'm going to make a whole video about it. I think diegolopes becomes the new featherweight champion of the world. And I'm not just picking diegolopes to be different, all right? I picked Volkanovski in the first fight. I did. I'm not just picking diegolopes because I want to be different. I'm not just picking diegolopes because I just want to have shock value or clickbait or whatever. I have people in my comments, oh, what are you talking about? I just think in the first fight, he made some very clear mistakes. If he tweaks just a little bit those mistakes, he could very easily knock out Volkanovski. Like, Volkanovski is almost there to be hit. Like, he really is. Like, the way he leans back and the way he evades punches and his striking defense, especially this stage in his career, he's there to be hit, right? Obviously, Volkanovski got dropped in the first fight, but I think if diegolopes takes a little bit off his shots and really measures up a finish, and also, and this is the big factor I'm going to get to in a second, if he really measures up a finish, I think he can find Volkanovski's shin and sit him down again, but this time maybe out cold. I mean, diegolopes has the weird striker style and the power, also the reach advantage, and obviously Volkanovski has kind of long arms for his size. He's a stocky motherfucker with long arms, so he really keeps people at range. And I think it surprised diegolopes in the first fight. Like, oh my god, like, I'm kind of on the outside, even though I'm pushing forward, and he's jabbing me, he's kicking me, he's moving, and I can't really find him. And Diego Lopez was kind of chasing him until that sequence where he was able to clip him, right? He sized it up, and he set up that shot that sat down Volkanovski, that had the world on their seats. And my problem is, I feel like he could recreate that, but also he can recreate that and find an actual finish. What is tricky for Diego Lopez is that he's fighting Alexander Volkanovski. This is not just some dude, right? Volkanovski is going to make the adjustments from the first fight, knowing like, oh shit, I did get clipped from that first fight, and I did get clipped in that first fight. Let me adjust. Let me really keep my distance. Maybe mix in the grappling, which I think is going to give Volkanovski problems. Because I think if he takes Lopez to the ground, and like I just said, fighting off your back is not that effective, but if there's one guy, or one of the few guys in the UFC that can still be effective off their back, it is Diego-Lopez. And I think Diego-Lopez might get taken down, but off his back will do a little bit of damage, which will lead to shots on the feet, because Diego-Lopez will start going forward, landing damage, and will find that knockout shot. So I really do think that Diego-Lopez will knock out Volkanovski in the rematch, and it's going to be absolutely incredible, because then it sets up the trilogy, right? But man, I am so excited for this card. I'm gonna make a whole breakdown video about why I think Diego-Lopez is going to be the new featherweight champion of the world, probably this week, because obviously this fight is happening this Saturday to end January. But guys, that is my breakdown of UFC 325. Guys, please again like and subscribe. It helps me out so much, guys. I'm absolutely locked in. You guys are absolutely amazing. I will see you guys very soon.